Hi, sixth grade. Welcome back to videos. Yesterday we did some review on GCF, LCM, the distributive property, and then undoing the distributive property. Today we're going to review the very last lesson in this chapter, which is simplifying algebraic expressions. Okay. If you're following along in your book, I'm on page 115. And as always, if I'm going too fast, please pause the video or rewind if you missed something. And I do have office hours, so if you are struggling, please let me know and we can work it out later in the afternoon. Okay, the terms that we will be defining come straight from the book. The first one is term. A term is a number, a variable, or a combination of a number and a variable together. So an example would be 2x minus 8. This is a term, and this is a term. So 2x minus 8, this is an example of two terms in the expression. Okay, two terms. So it can be a number, it can be a combination of a number and a variable, or it could be a variable all by itself. I'm going to put plus y. Now it's a three term. Okay, so there's an example of each. A combination, a number, and then a letter all by itself. A coefficient. This is the number before a variable. I'm just going to break that up so it doesn't look like a term. Okay? A coefficient is the number before a variable. So in this example, 3x, the 3 is the coefficient. Okay? In today's lesson, simplifying algebraic expressions, that's a fancy name for combining like terms. That's what we're going to be doing, is combining things that are alike. Okay? So we've been talking about through the distributive property. You know, if you have variables like an x and something that doesn't have an x, they're separate because they're not the same. They don't have the same whatever x represents, whether it's like a last name or Skittles, candy, basketballs, whatever it is, okay? They're all different. So when you're simplifying algebraic expressions, we're simply combining the things that are alike. So in this first example, 3x plus 2 plus 9x, I am going to circle the things that are alike. So 3x is alike to 9x. They're both x's. Now I don't know what x's represent, but they're both the same. So those can be grouped together. And then plus 2 is all by itself. So I'm just going to underline it. I'm going to do something different. Okay, so now I have identified which ones are the same. And now I can combine them. So 3x plus 9 more x's, whatever those are, means I now have 12 x's. And then I have plus 2 that is part of my answer, even though it can't be combined with anything. So the 12x plus 2 is my final answer because it can't be simplified anymore. Okay? Let's do another one. Example 2, 7b plus b plus c. This time I'm going to box my like terms. So I've got 7 b's, balloons, plus another b, plus another balloon, plus c. I don't know what that is. Okay, maybe it's candy, balloons and candy. Somebody has a birthday, maybe. It can't be combined, right? Having some candy does not give me more balloons. It might make me happy on my birthday, but it's not going to add to my balloon bouquet. So I can only combine the things that are. So I had 7 balloons plus 1 more balloon. So this is the same thing. We want to remember, if you see a B, it's the same thing as 1B, or an X, it's the same thing as 1X, or whatever letter, right? R. If there's one of them, it means one of them. Okay, it's not a 0. It means one of them is there. So 7 plus 1 more gives me 8 of whatever B represents. And then I still have this C on the end that cannot be combined because it's not the same. Okay, combining like terms. I'm not sure if you're going to have one like this guy, but this is a challenge question for you, okay? Because I know you are smart enough. You're definitely capable. In this case, I've got X's and Y's, and here's a number all by itself. So I have a few things I'm going to be combining. So I think it's really important to figure out what you want to use to help you group your like terms. So the first time I used circles, and then the second time I used boxes, and because I have so many different things going on in this one, I'm probably going to have to use both, okay, as well as underlining anything that's left over. So if I start with X, the X's, and circles, I'm going to circle the 6X. It's at the beginning, so there's no other sign to worry about, but we want to include the sign that's in front of, okay? And maybe I'm going to write a little note off to the side. When identifying like terms, so that means like circle, box, underlining, whatever you're using, include the sign on the left. It's very important. Okay. Sorry, I didn't realize I was hanging off there. When identifying like terms, circle, boxing, underlining, include the sign on the left. So in my next terms that have X, so negative 5y, that's not the same. I'm not going to circle it. Positive 8x is the same. So I'm going to circle the positive, right? Because I want to circle the plus sign. So I know that I'm supposed to add these two together. And then I'm going to look, are there any more X's? There aren't. There's no more X's. Okay, so now I'm going to move to boxes. So I have minus 5y. So I'm going to box my y's. And then I have plus 2y. And then I have plus 11y. And then I have no more y's. In fact, the only thing I have left is a 4, which doesn't have an x or a y. So I'm going to underline this guy twice so I don't forget about him. And now I'm going to group. So I'm going to rewrite this just because it's going to be cleaner than a bunch of lines everywhere. So I'm going to do 6x plus 8x. And then I'm going to combine all those. So then I have minus 5y plus 2y plus 11y's. Now my y's are all together. So I've got my x's together and my y's all together. And then I definitely don't want to forget about this guy. But since he's all by himself, I'm just going to skip this row so that he's ready. The plus 4 is just part of my answer. Just going to go straight down with it. Okay, so 6 plus 8, whatever these are, right? I'm combining 2 together, and so I should get more. So 6 plus 8 gives me 14. So I'm going to have 14 x's. Okay, 14x. Here, I'm going to do this in 2 steps. So first, I'm going to combine, you know how I like to underline when I do more than one thing at a time? So I'm going to underline 2 and 11 because they're both positive, right? They're both positive. So 2 plus 11 is 13 y's. So when I add them, I get 13. And then minus 5y, now I can make sure that I've done the subtraction part. Even though it came first, I can switch the order. The order doesn't matter, okay? So I have 13y minus 5y's. I don't know what y's represent, but there were 13, and then we took 5 away. So that means for my answer, I'm going to have 8 left over, okay? So for my final answer, I have 14 x's, I have 8 y's, and then I have just 4 all by itself. This is what you're going to be doing today in your books on page 115. If you open your books, you'll see that there aren't too many. We're going to do 7 through 14 all. Okay, 7 through 14 all. And you'll do them just like we set it up in our notes. Okay, so I'd like for you to identify. So you circle, box, star, heart, whatever you want to do to identify the like terms, and then carefully combine them. Make sure that you pay attention to the signs. Okay, you guys? As always, make sure that you send me a picture of your notes that should look like mine, and send me a picture of the homework when you complete it. 2 pictures. Thank you.